Hello and welcome again. This is Paul with a continuation of a video series regarding my testimony as to figuring out what on earth is going on here. In the previous section I outlined when I realized that the entire financial system is a pyramid scheme, or is designed as a pyramid scheme. For me, that experience was literally like as if, imagine if you're a deeply religious person and being exposed to that fact that the financial system is a pyramid scheme, is as if someone had told a deeply religious person that there is no God. That's the devastating, because basically that's what it was for me. I mean, okay, I had some strong suspicions that the so-called political and democratic system is nothing but a big show, but I still believe that, okay, we live in a capitalism, and if you work hard enough and give it your best, you will be rewarded for it. When you go through all the evidence that's out there, read several books about it, you will realize that the financial system is just one gigantic Ponzi scheme. And the natural questions that arise when realizing this, of course, is, for example, what were the lies? What were we lied about? Well, we were lied about that you live in a capitalism and we have free markets and everything. You don't have any free markets. Everything's just rigged. Second question that you want to find, that you ask yourself, is why have they lied about this? And then the third question is, who are behind the lies? Well, if you start researching it, the why they have lied about is to have control. These are one of the earliest pictures that I found. Now remember, I'm telling you this is my story as to the different things that I discovered back then. I do not necessarily agree with all the information herein today. Compared to when I did these studies, 2011 and 2012. But the main conclusion that the financial system is a gigantic Ponzi scheme and can only work as long as the masses are unaware of it, that is still correct. Nothing has changed regarding that. What has changed is that the why and the who has changed during these last 5 years. That has changed for me. But this was one of the first illustrations that I found regarding how the banking system works. You can see at the bottom you have the populace and the planet. Yeah, whatever, I'll go into that later. And then you have the corporatocracy, the big banks on top of that, and then you have the central banks, and then you have the international central banks and the central banking of central banks, and then you have the financial elite. So basically what this tells you is that there's a financial elite that controls everything. I don't agree with that now, but that's the information that I had. Found another one which is basically similar but still a little bit different. And there in this illustration they have included how the media works also. That the big banks, that the media is in on the whole Ponzi scheme also. So that was the financial system. Do your own research, read the books, I mean, if you read any book that is not written by a person that is somehow connected to the scheme, you will find out the truth. And the truth is that the financial system is a Ponzi scheme. Period. There is no other conclusion. There can be other conclusions as to why and the who. Yes, that's true, but that's not for now. That's for later. My conclusion was that it was a financial elite. So I'm going to go on to the political system now. I read a few books. I didn't really spend that much time on it because I already felt that the whole political system is just a big sham. It's just a disgrace. I mean, look at all the people that they put in front of you. You have clowns, basically. People that can't even pay their own bills. And these people are supposed to rule over you? Come on, seriously. They can't be the ones that are in charge. It's impossible. Now, I want to, one of the earliest books that I read in 2011, 2012 was a book by Gary Allen called None Dare Call It Conspiracy. Let's see if I can find that here. It's a fairly short book. It's only 98 pages, and it took me, if you read 25 pages an hour, you can, or 28 pages an hour, you can easily read this in half a day. It's available online. Just search for None Dare Call It Conspiracy PDF, and you can find it online. The main conclusion of this book is that there is a conspiracy, that the political system is rigged. It's basically the same people backing to opposing, quote unquote, opposing parties or political parties. So you have Democrats and Republicans in the US. They basically receive funding from the same group of people. And it's the same all over the West, and probably also the East. But this book does not cover that. It mainly focuses on the West. And also, this book also covers the fact that the Nazi Party in Germany in the 30s were also financed by the same group of people. It's a good read. I read it back then. I read it 5 years ago, and this basically just to confirm my suspicion that it's all rigged. The political system, that is. And then there's a small clique of people that control everything. Now you can try to debunk it. I don't agree with everything in this book. Let's see what which conclusion he reaches. I think it's down here. Let's see if I need to find it. If I remember correctly, you're going to have to read it for yourself, but if I remember correctly from this book, after having read it, was that the conclusion of the book was that it's basically the Council on Foreign Relations that controls everything. And it doesn't describe this part here. Well, Council on Foreign Relations is here under the think tank category here. So I took that with a grain of salt, but it's a good read. Obviously, with the information that I have now, this book does not give you a complete picture of how everything hangs together. I don't want to give you my results on how everything hangs together in this segment. I'm going to give you everything in chronological order. So. And as you can see here, the Council on Foreign Relations is just a part of it. The second book that I read was a book by Edward Bernays, and that is Sigmund Freud's nephew. It's a book called Propaganda. It's also a very interesting read. Some tidbits out of this book is, I mean, it basically describes how the masses can be manipulated into thinking a certain way, feeling a certain way, reacting in a certain way, and this book outlines it. It's more of a psychological book, but it's a very good read, and as you can see, it's 153 pages. It's not very long either. You can read that in a day. So, I mean, there's no excuse. You set half a day aside, and you can easily read this book, and you get a better understanding how masses are influenced into thinking and reacting and feeling certain ways. This is a very interesting statement here. Propaganda is the executive arm of the invisible government, which also confirms the fact that everything's controlled. And his definition of propaganda. It's very interesting, I must say, because I quote from this book by Edward Bernays. I found the word defined in Funk and Wagnall's dictionary in 4 ways. A society of cardinals, the overseers of foreign missions, also the College of the Propaganda at Rome, founded by Pope Urban VIII in 1627 for the education of missionary priests, Sacred College de Propaganda Fide. Hence, any institution or a scheme for propagating a doctrine or system. Doctrine is a very interesting word, I'll go into that later. Effort directed systematically toward the gaining of public support for an opinion or a course of action. The principles advanced by a propaganda. In his book, he basically also outlines, see if I can find it here, but he basically outlines how the entire women's liberation movement, before they launched that campaign, there was a campaign called Torches of Freedom. And the Torches of Freedom was basically designed by a marketing company with the explicit goal of increasing the market share for cigarette companies. And they tell you how they went about it. This whole idea of influencing public masses is described in this book. And like I said, it was a long time ago since I read it, probably 5 years ago, so I don't remember everything by heart, but it was a very good book. Thereby not saying that everything in it is 100% correct, but anyone who wants to find out how a small group of people can control the masses is described in this book, and try to debunk it. Do that, and then you can, in a scientific way. I bet you can't. So that was the political system. Yes, I might as well take this one also, because I guess this will be a fairly short video. The third part here, the third point that I've written here is the lie that you've been fed. I mean, when you discover that the financial system is a gigantic Ponzi scheme, I mean, it's obvious once you start to look into it. Ask yourself this question: why have you not been taught about this in the school? Why have you not been told exactly how the financial system works? Because obviously the financial system affects everyone. It affects your work, it affects your life. You work, you spend 8 hours per day going to a work, trying to earn money, and you don't even know how money is created. Why haven't you been told about this? Well, it's the education system. The education system's goal is not to teach you anything, to be a critical thinker, but it's basically a system of indoctrination. And here are some interesting videos that you can have a look at. I put one in here in the last. I don't necessarily agree with all of these things, but it's the same thing. Try to debunk them. Try to, we can check, click on, no, I want to, it's easier for you to check these things for yourselves, because I won't spend a lot of time on it. It's basically, it's obvious once you think about it. They have even written it, that the educational system is not meant to instruct people or teach people valuable knowledge. And this is from a quote by an article by Andrew Gavin Marshall in 2012. And this is the quote from the Trilateral Commission. In most of the trilateral countries, Western Europe, North America, Japan, in the past decade, there has been a decline in the confidence and trust which the people have in government. Authority has been challenged not only in government, but in trade unions, business enterprises, schools, and universities. professional associations, churches, and civic groups. In the past, those institutions which have played the major role in the indoctrination of the young in their rights and obligations as members of society have been the family, the church, the school, and the army. The effectiveness of all these institutions as a means of socialization has declined severely. So you have basically that the entire upbringing of a child, and that's why parents have to give up their children and send them to public school so they can be properly indoctrinated. That's the only purpose. They don't want you to learn these things. They want you to be obedient little slaves. That's what they want you to be. And check these things for yourself. I mean, how come you didn't know that the financial system was a Ponzi scheme? Have you ever thought about that? Point number 4, media. They all report the same news. It's propaganda and programming. They're all in on it. And this is
Consumer news, economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year. Economic factors may take some of the spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year. Economic factors may take the spring out of the step of the Easter Bunny this year.
So I recommend you to watch these videos. I mean, it's no big surprise. That was a clip from United States broadcasting news agencies, but it's the same in Sweden, it's the same in Europe, it's the same in Germany, it's the same all over the place. I mean, the media is owned by a small group of people that filtrate. I mean, in a best case scenario, they disseminate irrelevant things for your life. That's the best case scenario. In a worst case scenario, they disseminate outright lies and propaganda. And they when you turn on that television, that's the only thing you're going to hear. Lies and propaganda, and or trivial nonsense. And it's not only that. It's I see I have double links there, but anyway, it's the same. So that's the media, and I won't go into that anymore. Do your own research, check the links. All news is just fake. Go to alternative sites, and even then you need to be careful. And later on in this presentation, I've found out some information that actually confirms all these things, but I don't want to go into it right now. Then I started to look at different false flag attacks. I mean, a lot of these things around you are just completely improbable once you start to look at the reasons why different wars are started, why quote-unquote terrorists arise, and everything. I'll start from the bottom here on false flags. Basically everything that you see on TV is either direct lies or misinformation. Let's have a look at the so-called terror attack in Norway, whenever that was, 2012, I think it was 2012, when a lone nutcase bombed the Parliament building and murdered a few youths over at an island close to Oslo. Let's see if I can watch that one.